Why is it always me has to be the servant?
Steve, in this instance, right, firstly, we agreed that I was going to be the nobleman anyway, but it's just how it turned out with the costume art. That's just the sizing.
You hide the costumes.
Good point. Tell us about what Steve's wearing.
Well, Steve, you're wearing very simple, basic clothes that the normal outdoor servants would have worn.
And I see that really, you know, that clothes fit the man. Simple, basic.
Maybe you should have these on. Then.
Yeah.
So the hood you're wearing there is known as a liri pipe and would have normally have been made of either hard linen or wool. And you've just got a basic woolen tunic and a linen shirt.
Tell me about my outfit.
Johnny, you're dressed as according to your status of a nobleman.
Thank you very much. And I've got to tell you, it really feels good. I mean, as soon as I put it on, I had that, he's coming home, you know? It really felt like that.
So, Steve, you need to go that way to do some hard graft in the kitchen. Johnny, you're going to come with me.
Now, it's fair to say that Henry VIII was a big lad who enjoyed his food. So when he came to Cowdray House, the kitchen was a busy place to be. I've come to meet Carol and Pip, who are going to tell me all about life in a Tudor kitchen and what job I'll be doing today.
Tell us about life in a Tudor kitchen.
Right, started very early, probably before dawn. You get up, lowest of the low first, because breakfast was between 9 and 11, so that means the reason you're up before dawn is to get it ready by 9. And then 11 o'clock, when it's finished, you then start getting supper ready, which starts at about 5 o'clock. But one of your jobs today is spit boy.
Certainly the worst job in a Tudor kitchen would have been that of the spit boy, whose job was to stand by the fire and turn those enormous iron spits used to roast the large quantities of meat that made up the main part of a Tudor diet.
Lovely.
Hey, you want chilli sauce with this?
These guys were not boys, though, as the sheer size and weight of the loaded spits meant no mere boy could do this. It had to be a man.
Brilliant.
And well, now, where's the power for this? Where do I is there a switch?
You're the power for it.
I'm the power.
Sorry, you're the power.
It was hot work for the spit boy, as they were the same distance from the blazing fire as the meat they were roasting, which apart from the chickens would have included over 8,000 sheep and nearly 2,000 pigs a year.
How long would it take for these to actually cook?
Heat from the fire, about an hour. They're not terribly big chickens, are they?
An hour?
Yeah.
Jesus wept. Right.
While Steve is toiling over the spit, I'm pursuing a more noble pastime, music lessons. Unfortunately, it's with my least favourite instrument, the bagpipes. Oh, God, it's near my ear! Oh, God, I hate the sound of them. Oh.
When you've got the drone going, you're nearly
That's all
there.
there ever is. Although Henry VIII was a keen musician and actually owned a set of bagpipes, he'd had professional musicians to play them. Sadly, no one told me that. Thank you. I'm here all week. Coming up, Steve gets to grips with more of Henry VIII's birds.
What's the matter? Tap me out. Right up my nose. Right up my nose.
And gets a promotion. You get to wipe my bum. Come on, Steve.
Yeah, I'll get it right.
Steve, I promoted you. This week, Steve and I have been in Portsmouth on another muddy adventure.
Hey! That's the first stone cannonball we've had on the show.
Now we're on a quest to discover more about Henry VIII and life in Tudor times. And today, we're at Cowdray House in Sussex. And as usual, Steve's getting his hands dirty. This time, in the kitchen.
Here it is, right, one pheasant.
Now, we all know Henry VIII liked his birds, but it was the feathered variety he enjoyed eating, including pheasants.
It's a ripe bird, I think. It's fairly old, been killed some time ago.
What's right? Does that mean...
In other words, it's been hung.
Right, so this is not fresh, this wasn't killed today?
Not fresh, no.
Hanging the pheasant in a cold room is said to improve the flavour of it. but unfortunately it makes it less fragrant when preparing the bird. This one has been hanging around for 10 days, so that should make it particularly tasty.
Filthy job. Right, Steve.
Yeah. In between the legs,
In
yeah?
between the legs round this area here, please.
Oh, it stinks.
What's the
Right
matter?
up my nose. I
Right up your
sniffed
nose.
that. Right up my nose.
For a king-size banquet, up to 250 pheasants would have been plucked in a day.
What we're going to do, I'm just going to clear around the neck a little bit more, just
Yep.
so we can get the neck out.
Ah, Steve. Lowly scum. How are you doing? Why isn't Steve doing this?
Steve's going to do the interesting part.
Make him do it with his teeth.
Well, what we want now is to cut the neck out. Take the knife, cut right round the neck, and then we'll take the neck and tear the neck out.
What larks, Pip? What larks we shall have?
Just the skin, just the skin.
Just the skin. Right the way around the neck, cut it right round.
What's that like, Pip? Is that good enough?
Yep.
What's
All right.
next?
Take hold of the neck.
Yeah.
Hold it tight.
Yeah.
Just screw your hand round like that, and that should come away in your hand.
Come on, Steve. Put a bit of back into it.
There we are.
Oh,
Now,
it stinks.
God, it really does that mean. Whoa, that's kicking up.
Oh, smell that! No, smell that. Pip, that's I can't eat that. That's off.
all right.
Now, all I have to do is take its insides out with my fingers.
No.
Best thing to do is 2 fingers down and just drag everything of that out.
Come on, Steve.
Oh, it stinks.
Oh, man, that smells. And that's the kind of smell. Oi! Oi, Gavolt.
That really stinks, Pip.
Oh.
Oh, Jesus.
Oi.
Wet.
He's been dead for
Do you know what? Do you know what really amuses me about this, Steve? Your hands are filthy, right? And what's funny is, it's about a half-mile walk to the visitors' centres, but that's the nearest place there's running water and soap. I'll get back to the nobility. I think I can see why our 2 classes must live separately.
Well, bring us back a wet wipe.
Now, we know Henry VIII liked his food, but Steve would have had to have been plucking a lot more pheasants to satisfy the king's appetite. This is a good table of food. I've got to tell you, it looks like my diet. Is this how much they'd have had in what, a week?
This is Henry's diet within a week.
I have to say, right away, that is certainly more than his allowable 21 units.
I would think so. He'd probably more likely consume that within a day because he would have drunk about 10 pints a day. Largely because in the medieval and Tudor times, you wouldn't have drunk the water. It was too dirty, so you needed to drink beer, but the highest quality beer would have been the sort that the Lord or King would have drunk.
I mean, that's like a darts player in the 80s.
That's absolutely.
OK.
He did also like fruit. To bear in mind, though, there weren't many vegetables in the Tudor diet because they were considered to be more of a lower status food. So the poorer people or the lower servants may have eaten it. But the king, or maybe the nobility, would have preferred to have a very high meat-rich diet. There could have been rabbit, chicken, game, any sort of meat that you could think of that quality. Or the highest quality dish would have been roast swan, because they were protected by royal decree. So dishes like that would also have been a sign of status.
But Henry had a serious sweet tooth as well and consumed vast quantities of sugary treats at his daily banquets. Although I very much doubt the Tudors would have had steam train cakes. There's marzipan in there as well.
It was known as marchpane, and the person that would have created these lavish designs was known as the confectioner, probably one of the most important people in the kitchen. The whole point is the dessert was the highlight of the meal.
OK. But Henry also liked his savoury dishes too, and consumed around 5,000 calories a day. By the time he died in 1547, he was morbidly obese. Do you know what? One thing, all this kind of food, after this, I'd imagine, and because of the diet there, not a lot of fibre. Where's the Kazi?
Follow me, Johnny. I'll show you what they used to do in Tudor times.
So this is it, is it? The little room?
So, yeah, Johnny, this is the guardrobe.
That's their name for the Kazi, is it?
So this is the name for the toilets. At Cowdray, that would have been the highest level of facilities.
Yeah.
So they would have had running water going through that, flushing it out down into the river below.
OK. Well, I'm going to nick in there. Thank you very much for that. In we go.
Enjoy.
Ah! Grande problemo. No loo roll.
problem solved. You would have used this. This is a linen cloth known as a diaper cloth. This is where the word diaper comes from. And it would have been the person known as the groom of the stall would have helped you with this job.
The groom of the stall?
He would have been the highest servant in the household because he's dealing with your personal particulars, such as going to the toilet. He would have been elevated to the highest level.
So someone would be promoted from a lowly status to get that job?
Yeah, very high status and very influential position.
Steve! Steve, great news.
I'll tell you what, right? Do you know... Oh, cheers, mate. Do you know how hot it is in that
No,
kitchen?
no, don't do that. Steve, you don't do that. You don't do that. No, I don't want it wet.
Well, what do you want me for?
You're being promoted.
Yeah.
Yes.
The woman in the kitchen said, yeah, if I work really hard and everything, yeah, I'd go from the bottom and work my way up. Promotion.
Well, you are literally working your way up to the bottom in a funny way because... Tell him about this job. Groom of the stall.
Groom of the stall, you have to help King Henry go to the toilet.
You get to wipe my bum. Come on, Steve.
Yeah, I'll get
Steve,
away.
Steve, I promoted you. Look, we've tried everything on this show, and we do anything for history. You said that. It's promotion. Come on, Steve, it'll be really nice for us. You'll be pleased to know Steve passed his test with flying colours and is almost ready to become a true nobleman. OK, Steve, here we go, mate. The final rung on the promotional ladder. As you ascend almost to nobility, on the top table today, we have the Henry VIII Food Challenge. OK, we've got 10 pints of ale.
I can do that.
That's what Henry VIII would have had in a day, and that's coming in at 5%. It's not your peasant muck. Plus, under here, I've got 5,000 calories.
Oh, it's not oysters again.
No, it's 5,000 calories. Today I've chosen a delicacy, I think, beyond that for you. Are you ready for this?
Yeah.
This is what you got to eat. Are you ready?
Yeah,
You ready? You ready? 5,000 calories. Ta-da! 19 Scotch eggs.
How am I going to eat 19 Scotch eggs?
Well, in 2 minutes is the answer. You got 2 minutes. You see man versus food. This is man versus Scotch eggs.
Oh, I don't think I'll be able to do it.
Steve, the producers said it's got to be done. They said, you've got to do it. You know, we're under orders here. It's out of my hands. It's out of my hands. That's just the way it's going to be. Here we go. You ready?
Yes, go on then.
Stephen Brooker, you have 2 minutes to devour 19 Scotch eggs, starting now! Remember, you got to go for the lager as well, Steve. Man versus Scotch eggs. Man versus Scotch eggs. That's it, Steve. Come on. Come on, Steve. Come on, Steve. They've all got to be gone. There's a big prize here. There's a big prize. Oh, God. That's the most reddest thing I've ever seen. Oh, my God. That pint's looking a bit cloudy. Steve, you do this. There's a big prize I've got for you.
Oh.
There's a big prize.
Huh?
There's a big prize, yeah. I'm going to treat you.
I'm doing well.
Come on, Steve. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Oh, Steve.
I've done the best.
Do you know what? You have done your best. You really have done... God, it's really disgusting. You've done your best. Do you know what, Steve? Do you know what, Steve? You've done your best, and that means you got the prize. I'm going to give you the prize.
What is it?
The prize? I'll treat you to anything you want from the garage. Come on the way home.
I'm not hungry anymore.
I'll drive you. You can sit in the passenger seat. Come on.